At 12 o'clock, you got Falcons traveling to the Dallas Cowboys, favored by 8 points on Fox. They have a lot of injuries, so let's get through this right quick. At the beginning of the season, everyone knew the backup quarterback was A.J. McCarron, but he went down with an ACL tear early on, so they signed their number 2 quarterback as Josh Rosen, guys, 2018 first-round pick out of UCLA, the man that has been on so many football teams. And his career has kind of went down the toilet. He was drafted top 10. He is really the forgotten quarterback of that class. I mean, people think Sam Darnold was the forgotten quarterback of the class. Josh Rosen has just been dropped off the radar immediately. Because it was like everyone talks about Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Baker Mayfield. I mean, they should. Those are 3 very good starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Sam Darnold has been kind of a disappointment, right? But Josh Rosen has easily been the most disappointing player. Drafted in the first round by the Cardinals, just automatically leaves. Like, after 1 year, they're like, get this guy out of here. He goes to Miami, which the only person he has to beat out for the starting gig is Ryan Fitzpatrick. And that's not even Fitzpatrick last year that was playing at a high level. This was Ryan Fitzpatrick at the beginning of the year that was playing so badly. And then Josh Rosen can't even beat him out. He goes to, I think he went to Tampa Bay, was on their practice squad for a little bit, went to San Francisco, was a backup quarterback there after all their injuries. But Josh Rosen is the backup quarterback, which means if you're the Falcons, you just pray to God that Matt Ryan never gets hurt. And the third-string quarterback's Felipe Franks, the rookie out of Arkansas. He's a little bit interesting. He's an athletic player. I think he's going to have a use in this offense for sure. And then you also have tight end. Lee Smith got hurt. He's the third-string tight end, and huge injuries, back injuries out for this game. So it means Keith Smith's going to step into that third tight end role, 9th-year player out of San Jose State, and then Parker Hesse is going to move up into the 4th tight end role, first-year player out of Iowa. I mean, he's had 1 year in the NFL. He's actually, I think he's a 2nd-year player out of Iowa. I'm sorry. Calvin Ridley, obviously, stepped down due to personal reasons, mental health reasons. And while that's great for him, you should definitely take care of your mental health. That really leaves the Falcons in a hole at wide receiver. You have Russell Gage. It's going to be your first-string receiver, right? 2018 6th-round pick out of LSU. But after that, it's kind of stepped down Tajay Sharp, their big signing in free agency at wide receiver. That at the Titans, the 2016 5th-round pick out of UMass, right? Not a big deal, though. Not a huge guy. Olamide Zacchaeus had a kind of great game against the Saints. 2 touchdowns. 4th-year player out of Virginia, and then you have Christian Blake, the 4th-year player out of Northern Illinois, and Frank Darby, the 2021 6th-round pick out of Arizona State. Again, not a receiving core that's going to kill you. The big worries if you're the Cowboys is, number 1, you got to worry about the 2 tight ends, Hayden Hurst and Kyle Pitts are both really good. Hayden Hurst is the forgotten of the 2, but Hayden Hurst is still a very solid tight end, and honestly is going to be one of the most targeted players, right? And then also, you're going to also have to worry about Cordero Patterson. Cordero Patterson is not listed as a wide receiver. He's listed as a running back on their official depth chart. But they use him at wide receiver. They use him at running back. He is their most explosive player by a lot. You got to watch out for him. And left end, you lose Jonathan Bullard to a concussion. He's out for this game. And you have John Kaminsky, his shoulder injury, limited practice, questionable for this game. Which means Mike Pennell is likely going to start even if John Kaminsky can't go. I believe he was 3rd string anyways. It's going to be Mike Pennell, the 9th-year player out of Colorado State Pueblo. It's going to be interesting. They haven't really been able to get pressure on anyone anyways, so it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be able to get pressure with this kind of rushing. And then left outside linebacker Stephen Means got hurt, if you don't remember, on a play where he actually picked up a fumble, got it all the way to the red zone, and then he hurt himself on that play. It's a knee injury. It's on IR at least until week 13, so kind of sucky. He makes such a great play, and then he's hurt. So that kind of sucks for him. They don't have a technical speaking backup left outside. That he was the backup left outside linebacker. So I expect Adetokunbo Ogundeji. I'm sorry if I absolutely botched that, but he was the backup right outside linebacker. So I expect him to step into also a backup left outside linebacker role, kind of a depth role there as he's a 2021 5th-round pick out of Notre Dame. And then, obviously, the 3rd-string right outside linebacker is probably... So, let's say he's going to take over the backup for both positions. This guy's going to be 3rd string, I guess, for both positions. James Vaughters, 3rd-year player out of Stanford. It's going to be interesting, at least, because they use Steven Means at least a decent amount. So it's going to be interesting. And then, obviously, their corner injuries, kind of well known. They had Isaiah Oliver go on IR for the knee injury. He's out for the season. And then Kendall Sheffield is just hurt for this game. Hammy, he's out for this game. So, obviously, A.J. Terrell, 2020, first-round pick out of Clemson, is your number one corner. And then Fabian Moreau. I love Fabian Moreau. Honestly, as a Redskins fan, I wished him all the best when he left us. I really wish we re-signed him. But I kind of understood it at the time. Now, I'm really wishing that we kept him, especially we should have kept Jimmy Moreland. But Fabian Moreau is a really good player, 2017 third-round pick out of UCLA. He's good. He's a good player. So it's good to see him move on and become a good player. He's the number one. He's the number 2 corner on this team. He's done a pretty good job. So Darren Hall is going to be the backup for this team. Both Darren Hall and Avery Williams are going to be the number 2, number 3, and number 4 corners for. They got Darren Hall's a 2020 4th-round pick out of South Dakota State, and Avery Williams 2021 5th-round pick out of Boise State. So they spent a lot of their picks on corners. If you did not know, they spent 2 on corners. I think they spent 1 on a safety. They spent a lot on the defensive side of the ball this year. And then third string kind of guy I don't expect to see the field very often is Chris Williamson, 2020 7th-round pick out of Minnesota. And then with the Cowboys, you have also some injuries. The first one, not a big one. Third-string quarterback Will Greer has a knee injury. He's limited practice, questionable. Not a huge deal. As long as Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush don't go down, Will Greer was not going to see the field anyways. And then running back Rico Dowdle, again, not a huge injury, hip. He had a hip injuries on IR, right? He was the third-string running back anyways. Really the only reason you would use him is Ezekiel Elliott. Tony Pollard got hurt, so basically he's out. It's Corey Clement in. And then fullback Siwo Olanilua, the neck injuries on IR, so again, they don't have really a fullback for this game. And then tight end Blake Jarwin has hip injuries on IR at least until week 12. So that Blake Jarwin was kind of the number 2 tight end of this role. So Dalton Schultz, who was the full tight end last year, the number 1 tight end all of last year, he was really the only one that was good last year. He's 2018 4th-round pick out of Stanford, so I mean, like, he's obviously going to step up. He's already used to this offense. What's really interesting is Sean McKeon, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's a 3rd-year player out of Michigan. He's going to step into that number 2 tight end role that Blake Jarwin did, so we'll be interested to see how he steps into that kind of role. And then Jeremy Sprinkle's obviously 3rd-string tight end. He was a Redskin for many years. I know him well because I watched a lot of Redskins games. Not an elite receiving option, but he's a decent blocking tight end, 2017 5th-round pick at Arkansas. Okay, and then wide receiver, you had Cedric Wilson go down with a shoulder injury. He's only questionable for this game, so he might be able to go. But if not, Noah Brown's going to step into that number 4 role, like behind Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup. Noah Brown's going to step into that number 4 role. Cedric Wilson, obviously, has done such a good job of 2017. Noah Brown's a 2017 7th-round pick at Ohio State. Then Malik Turner's going to step into that number 5 Noah Brown role. Noah Brown did see a decent amount of playing minutes, so let's not act like that's not a significant role. Malik Turner's going to step into that role, 5th-year player at Illinois. And then I just don't see Simi Fehoko seeing the field at all with the 7th string because, again, it's not like we were hearing a lot of Malik Turner's name, and this is that's the role he's going to go into. 2021 5th-round pick out of Stanford, so probably just sees more special teams minutes, if I'm going to be honest. Left tackle Tyron Smith has an ankle injury. He's out for this game, which means Terrence Steele, the 3rd-year player at Texas Tech, is going to step in at left tackle. Now, he was playing at right tackle, but I believe they got Lyle Collins back from his suspension, so he's going to step into that right tackle role, and then Terrence Steele can go back to where he's most useful with the Tyron Smith injury. And then defensive ends, obviously DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory both go down, and they're both, that really sucks for them. They're both 2 of your better pass rushers. DeMarcus Lawrence has a foot, and he's IR to at least to week 12, so 2 more weeks without him. If you're the Cowboys, and Randy Gregory's at least until his calf injuries, at least until week 13, so against 3 more weeks without Randy Gregory, so you're going to have to make do with your pass rushing. It's not a trio, it's a quad, I guess trio quad, I don't know what the heck that'd say, but your 2 starting pass rushers are going to be Terrell Basham, the 2017 3rd-round pick out of Ohio, and Dorrance Armstrong, the 2018 4th-round pick out of Kansas, and then your backup depth roles are going to be Azor Kamara, 3rd-year player out of Kansas, and then Chauncey Golston, obviously the 3rd-round pick this year out of Iowa. It's going to be interesting to see how they rush the passer with those key people being out. It's going to a lot come from the defensive tackle area, which also you have to deal with injuries. Neville Gallimore had an elbow. He's done at least prior to this week, which means he is possible to come back this week. We'll see if that happens. It would be a nice addition. And then Brett Urban has a triceps injuries on IR until next week. Not a huge deal. He's more of a depth piece anyways. So that means rookie, your two starting defensive tackles are going to be rookie Osa Odigizua, 2021 third-round pick out of UCLA. So he stepped into a starting role immediately. But has done a very good job this year. Player that I didn't expect to be all that good. Turned out to be way better than I expected them to be. And then Carlos Watkins, 2017 fourth-round pick out of Clemson, is going to be that other starting position. And then your other two backup kind of depth roles are the defensive tackle is normally a position that switches out a lot. Quentin Bohanna, 2021 sixth-round pick out of Kentucky that I didn't love. And then Justin Hamilton, the 6-year player out of UL Lafayette. And then down here at the bottom, you got Tristan Hill, 2019 second-round pick out of UCF. And then your other big issue is you have kicker Greg Zuerlein on the COVID list, which means Liram, I don't know how to pronounce his name. We're just going to call him Liram. Second-year player out of Western Ontario. Obviously going to be an interesting experience for the Cowboys. So who do I think is going to win this game? I think the Cowboys should have a bounce-back game, right? But Matt Ryan is still a phenomenal quarterback. He's playing at a high level right now. He's keeping the Falcons in playoff contention, which is not something I thought I would be saying this late in the season, especially after that Week 1 loss to the Eagles. This is a Falcons team that's playing at a pretty high level right now, coming off a huge win against the Saints. Now, that could be time for a letdown, right? Big one against a rival, and then you go into Dallas, and you get a letdown. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I really like the Falcons this year. I like what they're doing on offense, and I think the Falcons are going to win this one. I think they're going to travel to Dallas and pull off the upset. I think the Cowboys extend that losing streak to 2.